Jason Gorber is a film critic for twitchfilm.com and joins us now in studio. So, Jason, good to see you.
Hi, Scott.
Man of Steel, does it live up to all the hype?
Of course not, because the hype is so big on this film. People want this film to be so amazing. I mean, you have Christopher Nolan in the producer chair. He's the guy that revitalized the entire Batman franchise. Warner is betting big on this film. So does it live up to the hype? No. But is it a good film? Sort of. It all depends on what kind of baggage you bring into it. This is now, from my understanding, the third reboot that I can think of cinematically, and there's 2 TV shows just in the last 40 years of this character. They're always trying to reinvent him. And this time they get Zach Snyder, the guy who did 300 and did The Watchmen, to come and do a very different take on Superman. And one really interesting take on this version of Superman is they really made him like Jesus. I'm not even making this up. Warner Brothers is actually, today, for pastors on Father's Day, has packages that you can download from a special website devoted to the clergy in the United States to download sermons to talk about how Superman and Jesus are very similar people, big heroic American. I don't know how it goes, but nonetheless, there's moments of crucifixion that he comes up. He's crucified. There's scenes in churches. There's this weird religious overtone to it to try to open it up to a middle American audience. And it's working. It's making a lot of money, and a lot of people like that. I have an entire article that I wrote about this that'll be up on Twitch Film tomorrow, but it's a pretty fascinating take on Superman because of that. By the end of it, basically you have who you see on screen now, Michael Shannon, who's my favorite yeller of all time, up against Superman, and spoiler, they just beat up each other for a long time. And at some point in time, you do get a bit tired of seeing building after building destroyed by 2 ostensibly immortal guys. But other than that, look, it's worth seeing. It looks pretty on the big screen. And if you don't go in with so much baggage of what Superman should be or how the character should conform, it's pretty good.
Let's take a look at the clip.
Great.
My father believed that if the world found out who I really was, they'd reject me. He was convinced that the world wasn't ready. What do you think?
What's the S stand for?
It's not an S. On my world, it means hope.
Well, here it's an S. How about
Excuse me.
All right, sometimes these reboots end up with a character who's troubled. Is this a troubled Superman?
He's a little bit dark. It's a little bit like Batman, Superman, Jesus. There's all that stuff going on all at the same time. But because of that, it definitely pulls up the character by the end. Amy Adams is fantastic in almost anything she does. She's a really interesting Lois Lane, although it's completely preposterous she ends up in some of the situations she does. For a film that's so expansive, it suffers from the same thing that Avengers sort of did at the big finale of Avengers, is that you have this entire apocalyptic battle taking place, except even when they go to space and come back, they're landing within 3 blocks of Manhattan. It's like Manhattan has this weird magnet for superheroes to go back to the same place. Even Manhattan's bigger than the scope of this film. So it is what it is. I think people will go see it, whether or not I tell them to or not. I think it's okay. Some people hate it. Some people love it. I'm sort of in the middle.
All right. You have also Russell Crowe in the movie, and Hans Zimmer did the music. A little bit of Gladiator in there, maybe?
Yeah, and I know you might like Gladiator. I despise Gladiator. Oh my God,
we're fighting. We're fighting.
I love Hans Zimmer. Russell Crowe I don't even despise, but man, I don't like Gladiator. Zimmer's score is actually better in the trailer than into the film. I think they didn't do such a great job of integrating the score into the film. But if you actually watch the trailer, it's this beautiful crescendo build-up that he does so immaculately. I love the heck out of Zimmer. The score, I think, by itself will be better than how it is integrated in the film.
All right. Unfortunately, only about 40 seconds left for This Is the End.
My favorite film of the year. I have to get into that. I'm sorry to interrupt. I love the heck out of this film. This is an unbelievable film. It looks silly, like a bunch of actors playing themselves, but it's such an incredibly beautiful and nuanced take on the apocalypse, at the same time being a silly stoner comedy. Absolutely tremendous. Great Canadian talent in it. Definitely go ahead and see it. Everybody's going to Superman is going to go see Superman anyway, but This Is the End. Forget, even if you're put off by the trailers, go see it. It's an absolutely amazing film.
All right, Jason can be followed on Twitter. His handle is filmfest_CA.
Thanks,
Jason,
Scott.
thanks very much.